Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans, and welcome to the 2021 Spring Tournament Round of 64 edition. My name's Jat. I'm joined in the booth here by John tonight. How you doing, John?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking.
We have a match here tonight between Cheezinator and Walls. Walls, a relatively new player, joined in the 2021 January Duck Derby, so been playing for, six or so months. Cheezinator been around for a while, had some success in past tournaments, but oh boy, anything can happen in these bracket flags. So, John, what has changed between pods and now?
So one thing that has dropped is we no longer get the free bridge. So you don't have that automatic out where you can dodge to Provoca if you get poor rolls on Magic or other gear in Canaria. Also, we have a very interesting flag known as Monster in a Box. It is it's definitely one that causes you to be very careful with your resource management. You cannot just plow through a dungeon and assume you're going to be able to grab everything and get out. You have to be aware that you could get a really bad pack popping out of the box, and behind it you could get a heal pod. So some very unique ways of managing your resources and just watching yourself and being prepared that any dungeon could be a slog that isn't known as ice. It could turn a simple you can have a simple Titan Stroke check turn into something very interesting. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So we got a draft as is required in the brackets. Cheese opened up with the red mage, Walls with black mage, white mage, and Cheese finished it off with the black belt. Now, I think a key part of that decision was that the fighter had minus ribbon, which is a particularly nasty malice. Not only that, this black belt has black mage vitality, and this black mage has minus 10 vitality, so we're going to be a little bit short on HP overall here, but we'll have to see what happens, and it looks like we're off. Let's check out what our magic situation is.
Heal 2 and heal in the white. Lock 2 and fire 2 in the black magic, so not bad. Early heals and a decent sweeper to get you started.
Yeah, it's not quite vanilla, but it's pretty close to, this inner C. We're going to be dealing with enough tools to get us by, but nothing we're super happy with. It does make monsters in a box a lot more of a problem, but the general, enemies in the inner C, not going to be too much of a concern with Fire 2.
Okay. Pick up a couple 10s, a couple pures.
Oh, Cheese almost didn't have enough money to save there.
Yeah, that's something that I've run into in a couple of my own practice seeds is, coming really close and saying, oh, do I have enough? And if I don't, it is a reset saying, okay, I've got to do some better gold management.
So Cheese is deciding to open the boxes. This is much more common with the loose bridge. A bridge in the Temple of Fiends can be huge compared to if you get it and your opponent doesn't. But a gold bracelet -1, a nice consolation prize.
Yeah, I'll take that in a heartbeat. Fire 2 strats. We should be able to get through this. No major issues. Garland's definitely under 140 HP, so, pretty standard opening.
Ooh, okay.
We have a ship. Ship and herb.
Okay. So we're sticking in the inner sea. The ship is interesting because it negates the lack of the free bridge. Provoke a second, going to be a clear play here. Like the pod rounds, we do still have a free canoe, so there is a decision on whether or not we want to go to Crescent Lake or not. But with the ship and the herb, it's very likely that we're going to be seeing Elfland to potentially march to Crescent Lake instead of Provoca straight to Crescent Lake.
The nice thing about herb early is it gives you that extra key item, and then immediately you have something that you can go do in the inner sea. Like getting those early checks out of the way, just because when you're constantly dodging back and forth between the inner sea and the outer sea, slows you down. Some tips from veteran runners is get as many of your inner sea checks done as you can early, get those key items, and get going. Jet Seed. We have an early floater.
Jet Seed incoming indeed. Now, I do want to highlight that there wasn't an encounter on the way to Toph, I don't believe, which means we do have a relatively long run off the power cycle, and this is especially important for like the current kind of like black belt meta, which is to be able to check the desert tiles if you don't find a tile in Earth. Without that super short run, you know, these runners are going to try and find another location to get their grind on, which could be obviously Earth will be an early check, but outside of that, Volcano comes into play, going to Ordeals comes in as a play, and then like, you know, the slightly worse ones, Volcano, Marsh, and then of course if you get the key, those are all options as well. So keep an eye peeled for once these runners kind of get their free incentive items, if they're going to start looking for a grind early.
Well, we do see one thing happening here on Cheese's screen. He is buying the dirt cheap cloth +2s, not because he's trying to spread them anywhere else, but he's doing a little bit of inventory manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
So with Monster in a Box, if you have a full inventory, it at least, you know, it prevents it from, you know, if it's a defensive item, it's going to prevent it from popping on you. So it gives you a little bit of mitigation there. Doesn't look like we have much going in Black Magic 2.
White Magic
But
is good.
White Magic is very nice. Heal 3 and Invis 2, that's and Harm 4.
Yeah, Undead Pack's not going to be a concern. Zombie Ds would be a fantastic tile for this particular party to find in the early game. Could be used to get some early levels as well as to get the black belt all the way. Now, the reason Cheezinator, so Monster in a Box is a bit of a mixed blessing. It's mostly a curse, but there are blessings and happy side effects, which is that you can get some really good early game EXP if you have spells to deal with it, especially with like a fighter comp. The black belt comp though really just wants to go fast once it gets the black belt grind done, so buying the early key items makes a lot of sense, and that's kind of what I've been leaning towards, is going with key items. Filling up my inventory with fighter comp or with black belt comps, and then not so much with the fighter comps, assuming I have like some way to kill most enemy packs. So like, you know, a combination of Lit 3 and Ice 3 or Nuke or Fade.
All right. Cheese was first in the air. He chose to go to the Ryukin Desert and pick up the airship. Walls chose to go for the herb turn-in sooner. Decent pro rings +1 in the Crescent Lake armor shop.
And no good magic still. So this is actually promising. Level 6 not having good magic likely means there's good magic at level 3 and 4. Yep, Warp, gonna be a fantastic pickup. And we have the Crown as well. So I think at this point, Cheezinator is going to actually go Herb to Crown to Sarda, but could decide to go Sarda to Crown to Herb as well.
Ooh.
And looks like that's going to be the play.
Fade and exit in level 3 white. Not a bad.
Yeah, Fade Red Mage locked, which is going to make the Red Mage Black Belt 2-man a little bit less likely, but that does open up the possibility for the White Mage Black Belt 2-man instead. Now, one of the big benefits of the Red Mage in the 2-man, which is often underrated, is the fact that the Red Mage can swing a sword, so that way you don't have to use spell charges all the time. You can just, you know, swing a sword and the Black Belt can punch, and that's how you kill some party packs. But the Red Mage actually has minus Thief Swords as its Malice, so neither the Red Mage nor the White Mage are going to be swinging much of anything here.
So here's Cheese going to turn in that Crown, going to get Rod, so progression.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically progression. It's just something that, like, it's important for you, and it checks one thing off that can't be in Sky, which is good, but not really something that's going to be immediately actionable. I don't think either of these runners are in a particular rush to dive all the ways down Earth given their current situation, but I would still expect an early Earth check just for the 3 very, very quick accessible spike tiles.
Had some low damage rolls on that fire too, but Astos did a lot of swinging and missing in that fight, so Cheese got out of that fairly unscathed. Swinging back up looks to be... Oh, he's probably going back for additional magic? Okay.
Interesting. This magic is good, but not great. I'm curious to see why he's putting a big okay, I think Lock 2 is actually the priority spell that he came back for here, was just to make sure that he didn't forget to buy Lock 2. I'm a big fan of trying to limit the amount of working memory required. which just basically means check things off out of sight, out of mind. Just like do your prep when you have a cue to do so, rather than trying to remember it for like the optimal time. So I think that play makes a lot of sense. And Walls of Jericho basically following in Cheezinator's footsteps, picking up the bottle here from the herb. That's something that we can turn in immediately. Will we check Earth first, though? That's kind of my question. Okay, Elflin makes sense.
One thing we didn't call out is Sarda did have a white shirt. Not a very good one, -2, but it does give you some utility. However, he's going to see Invis 2 here, so it's just going to give him. I'm sorry, no, Invis is here. Invis 2 is in level 2, so he has just multiple options. Multiple ways to use Invis 2 when you're, when you're scrambling or when you're buffing up for any of the later fiends. Having extra charges of them, whether you're casting it or using it, gets you defended sooner.
3 casts of Invis 2 on turn 1 is a very powerful play that both these runners have access to, even if their mages are very low level. So definitely something to keep in mind. You can go like fast Invis 2 turn 1, fast or temper Invis 2 into Invis 2, and the fiends will just die. So a lot of safety in that, and the white shirt gives you infinite cast. Okay, so where are we going? Come on, Earth. Nope, I'm wrong. Bottle first.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I do like getting the bottle done sooner. Yes, there we go. He's doing the routing I was thinking. Getting it out of the way, getting some level 7 checks done. Nothing going in here in black. Nothing in level 7 white.
Looking for life 2 or life 2 and fast are the spells. And this is the black. This is going to be probably just a black Oh, nope, checking for white magic life as well. Okay,
Ooh.
life 2. But there's fast. Okay, that was the key spell that he was looking for, was fast, and it's level 8. So that could dictate the leveling strategy for Cheezinator, whether he's even going to commit to getting that black mage up to level 24 or 23 in order to get the first level 8 charge, or if he's just not even going to bother knowing fast is so high.
And if he doesn't go that high with his black mage, then he might be a little more on the lookout for power bonk. To help, because you're going to lose that if you don't go that far. You don't get fast, but if you have power bonk, you can kind of negate that with the additional, with the quick, the quick uses for saber.
Okay, there's the tail for sale. That does make the level 8 magic more viable. Of course, it's not purchasable without level 8 magic, or sorry, without the tail. But still, we'll see what level type of grind tiles we find and things like that as well. Walls of Jericho, though, totally different strategy. Deciding to go dive marsh first. We do have exits, so this play is not too bad at all. It's just not doing the key item checks first. Now, we do have to keep in mind that we have 5% key item experience on here. So that is why, doing what Cheese is doing here makes a lot of sense, to go pick up all those key items, already picking up, once he turns the adamant in, 10% extra experience before checking for a grind. But we'll see what we find here in the Cardia Isles.
Right, so we have Walls checking top, and gets a very, very big pack of yuck here.
Yeah. So key items can... Ooh, that's a nice sword, actually. Key items cannot be in Monster in a Box, but the Power Gauntlet can be. So it's a little bit awkward, but yeah.
It's do you want to try to slog your way through for a chance at a good item, or do you just say, nah, I'm passing and walk away? Cheese is picking up some decent coin here. I mean, he just got nearly 14k out of that one thing. He's passing on that Monster in a Box. It changes the calculation about what you want to do. Interesting to see he doesn't pick up that Aegis, because that's a decent sell.
Yeah, I mean, with the katana, we're pretty rich. Or we could see the black mage with the katana, as our tracker and restreamer extraordinaire Jay Scheidel pointing out in chat.
Watching here, I think Walls is forgetting the pathing on bottom of marsh. Checking empty. He's checking empty buildings.
Yeah. Walls just being a little extra thorough without having that path completely memorized. But, you know, in Marsh, you can only go so wrong. Just check all the rooms and you'll find it. But if you're interested in finding the, you know, the most optimal way to clear Marsh, well, we do have an upcoming Duck Derby starting on Monday. So if you're interested in learning this game at all, come join us on Monday right here on RPG Limit Break as we break down kind of the fundamentals of how to play your first seed of Final Fantasy Randomizer. So if that sounds at all interesting to you, come check it out. We got lots of resources available. We have commentary. We'll have seeds specifically designed and flags specifically designed to help you pick up this fantastic randomizer. So if that sounds interesting, come hang out here on Monday on RPG Limit Break. Cheezinator, back into Provoca.
I believe he saw something good here that he wants to pick up for everybody. Was
Silver
this?
bracelets? Oh.
Oh, he's picking up a couple, oh.
Awkward. Okay. Little...
Oh, I think he was looking for the pro rings. And the pro rings were to be in Crescent Lake.
Yeah, there were very cheap, very good pro rings in Crescent Lake. So yeah, it just looks like the shops temporarily got mixed up here. Ooh, Walls getting hit with damage poison specters.
Yeah. I wonder if he's noping out for a little bit to go look for some levels, or...
I think it's just, maybe we should go pick up all the key items first. Cheese essentially just preparing for either the first dungeon dive or the first grind, and it looks like it's going to be the first both, which is an ice play. So ice, 5 unique spike tiles, which is a fantastic potential source. Also, okay, so yeah, checking the first encounter, but as I mentioned, the encounter off the power cycle is very, very long. This is going to make the desert grind kind of unviable, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cheezinator just goes and checks Earth very soon. Like, it's one of the first plays I usually make when if I get in the air really fast. Oh wow, back-to-back wizards. So this is kind of like an entrance floor strategy. Cheezinator recognizing that the spells that he has are good for the enemies that are located on Ice 1, except for wizards. So deciding to try and do a little mini grind there. Meanwhile, Walls thinking similarly, except deciding to do it near Crescent Lake instead. But look at this first run, man. It's forever.
Wow. Yeah. Something very interesting, and this is just a little tidbit. I've had some very interesting short runs off the power cycle. 2 of my last 4 seeds, I've had like 8 steps off the power cycle, T-Rexes in the desert around Mirage Tower, and it's just delicious because, you know, and both times I had black belt for my party. Those are the kind of things that you salivate for, but you can never count on them because they're so rare. But when you get them, it changes the trajectory of your run dramatically.
Absolutely, yeah. So in many ways, this short encounter off the power cycle is one of the first things I checked, and actually when it was open parties, I was like considering resetting at times if I got it or didn't, just to like make the black belt that much more, not guaranteed, but like a lot more likely to be able to get a good grind off the ground. The fact is that if you're on A side spikes, there's only 3 good tiles, kind of, maybe 4, and then on B sides, you may or may not have a good tile at all. So spike tiles can be great, but they're inconsistent, versus the desert grind is very, very consistent, with 4 different encounter zones that you can check, and like basically 2 premium grinds and 1 mediocre grind. Okay, Cheese, where are we going? Marsh?
Okay.
Nope.
He picked up Temper, he picked up Cure Forward, he picked up Ruse. Walls is going to drop into Ice, and it looks like Cheese is going to go Waterfall.
Waterfall,
He has Oxhail too, so he could do a double, he could take care of the entire Honor continent right here.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a curious play. I would not love diving C with my levels or gear, but the Waterfall play makes a lot of sense. Usually you want to avoid double dipping the on-rack continent, but I think Cheezinator's prioritizing getting some early levels while also doing some exploration, and Waterfall kind of checks off both of those boxes with the spells we currently have available. The big decision is whether or not Cheezinator will decide to go into C right after. Meanwhile, Walls also just trying to pick up some levels, but having a little bit of trouble. Characters getting picked off left, right, and center.
Yeah, Ice Cave is unforgiving today.
Something that's often not like we love early floaters, right? But one thing early floaters do is it just removes all those kind of early inner sea levels that you might just get just walking around. Like usually you're like level 6 to 8 just by walking around, and then you can get a few more levels and you're level 10 to 12 before you know it. With the early floater, that doesn't occur, and it leads to a lot of what you're seeing here, which is walls wiping in ice, cheese wiping in waterfall, back and forth.
Yeah, lit 2 off those mud goals. Yeah, not fun. Not at this level.
Yeah, see, we laugh at Lit 2 when Kraken casts it. We're like, oh, thank goodness. But, you know, that's with Ribbon level 20 characters. Level 10, Lit 2 is pretty scary spell.
Mm-hmm. There's literally nothing that's going to, stop that for you, except for if you get lucky and find like an early opal bracelet. Even then, you're still so low on hit points that it might actually. Oh, here they are again.
Yeah, and by early Opal bracelet, you mean early Opal armor, because, yeah, the
I'm
Opal
sorry,
bracelet. Yeah. The
I was
Opal.
thinking, yeah, your opal armor. Yeah, you know what? Opal Cheerios. There we go. Yeah, opal bracelet is the gauntlet. I think opal gauntlet, but yeah, I definitely conflated those two.
Yeah, so this is just Cheezinator once again, just determining which dungeons kind of his spells line up correctly against. Walls of Jericho making a similar play. Marsh and Ice are the right places to go when you have Harm 4 and Fire 2 and Fade. Like, it all checks out. It's just these dungeons are very, very dangerous for such a low-level party. But, oh, that's funny. Mudgulls on the spike tile.
Gets off the fade, gets away.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, yeah. Nice pickup there. Doesn't want anything to do with any more of those boxes.
Yeah. Realized his mistake when he opened the first box and got a monster in a box and almost wiped and was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to take my key and leave. The key is actually good for a second reason, which is that it enables you to check the spike tiles in Northwest Castle and Toph as well, which are like pretty accessible, safe grinds just because of how quick they are to get in and out of if you want to save on the overworld. Okay, this is a big decision by Cheezinator. Going into Sea Shrine, this has to be a Mermaid's first play, but this is still very dangerous.
Check the quick little cheeky check here.
Oh.
That's nice.
Okay, we leave now, and we say we don't need to do the rest of Sea Shrine. Yep. Goodbye.
Yeah. I love that. Earthwing Angels slowly close the chest, back away, leave. I'm good.
Asher mentioned in chat A-side tiles. Yes, we are on A-side tiles here. So this leaves the premium grinds as Zombie Ds, Slimes for the whole party to get off the ground, Agamas or one Agama and one Eye are kind of the grinds these runners are looking for. And the Desert grind, as mentioned, is kind of off the table. I mean, maybe if there's a T-Rex into a T-Rex off Power Cycle, but I'd be surprised if they even check it.
Ooh, can he get through this?
Oh yeah, this is juicy.
Yeah.
Fire 2 and Fade.
Okay, can you get the cast off? Yes. This is gonna be a nice pop.
Yeah, no, those are actually, that's exactly the type of, see, that's, Lord Fizzlebeef, who played a very, very intense race the other day. When I've been chatting with him occasionally, or watching him chat more like it, that's where he's a big fan of Monster in a Box, because boom, slides. Or boom, just slimes and 2 levels for the whole party just out of nowhere, right? Like, usually Dwarf Armory is not a place where you get levels, but that's when Monster in a Box gives. Interestingly, Cheese decided to go open some more boxes. There's been quite a heavy emphasis on boxes here, which has surprised me a little bit. The primary thing that Cheezinator is looking for is a ribbon, but maybe with that defense, they're going to be feeling pretty well. Opal +2, nice consolation prize.
Oh yeah. And he knows and the nice thing is he sees the item, now he knows that he wants, if this is actually a monster box, he'll take this.
Mhm.
Because that's something you fight for. Opal plus 2, that is endgame armor.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Asher correctly pointing out the power of the filled inventory. Yeah, do I love the filled inventory meta? Not really, but do I respect it? Absolutely. It's, you got to play with the tools that are given to you, and filled inventory so you can see what you're getting before potentially getting a monster in a box that you just run from and then never learn that you left a ribbon behind. Absolutely huge. It also makes it a lot easier to run from these. You know why he filled up his armor? It's so Cheezinator knows that if he runs from something, he's never running from a ribbon. It is impossible for him to run from a ribbon.
He definitely switched his party around to see if he could, get those the squishy characters closer to the top, and there went his Fade Caster, so he lost a little bit of utility fighting this very punchy Gersharks and Big Eyes.
Cheezinator previously showing us the power of the Zap strats, but now the Zap strats showing us the power, which is Zap is very inconsistent, unfortunately, but can kill basically anything in the game, which is why it's powerful. But gets away, gonna have that solo black belt up. This surely must be the time to check grinds now.
He brings up his white mage because there's his fade backer, and can go around and do some good checks here. That's what we would think is the next play.
Yeah. So similarly to Cheese, Walls decided is double dipping Elfland right now, just gonna pick up the magic with a little bit more money in the bank. I was curious if Cheezinator was going to go with a Black Mage, Black Belt 2-man to try and get the fast cast on the Black Mage, and I thought that was a little bit odd, but yeah, the White Mage makes the most sense by far because of the fade. So White Mage, Black Belt 2-man to get the grind off the ground, everything makes sense here. Not the tile you're looking for.
No.
It will do for a few early levels, though.
Yeah, if you get some decent turnover and these monsters aren't rolling any weird scripts, you can take this.
Wall's going to go get his revenge on Marsh, saying, you know what, I'm back and I'm better prepared than ever. Oh, let's try that again. We don't want to go there, never mind.
Or we do. We do. He just forgot to save.
Marsh, we're back. We're better prepared than ever. What you got this time? So Giants, this tile is not great end game, but you could take it to 12 to 14 if you wanted. But she's deciding, nah, we're gonna go see if we can find greener pastures. Toflocked, as mentioned, another good place to check, and then I expect the Earth check right after. Might be delaying the Earth check because he wants to clear Earth when he goes there. But yeah, let's see. Nope. Wizards haunting Cheese everywhere he goes.
A nice pickup over there on Wall's side. He picks up a light axe. Nobody's swinging that, but that's free harm too, and it doesn't hurt to have it when you start running into those packs, and you see the fact that there's it's an easy use, and it saves magic. I mean,
yes,
doesn't hurt to have it. Somebody who's running out of magic points, or you want to save them, can at least contribute to the fight. You never turn down a free item cast. It can make a big difference.
So by my back of the napkin calculations, Life 2 is level 8. Life 1 may also be level 8, or it's an on-rack white magic. I think those are the only places I haven't seen. I'm going to quickly check our tracker's notes. Yes, I am correct. So Life is either an on-rack white or Lefane, and that means Life is very inaccessible in this particular seed. All signs are pointing to a 42 black belt here, except for the lack of a good grind tile.
Ooh. Okay, that's definitely a tile you don't want. Phantom.
You know what tile you do want? A single eye in Marsh, I believe. I think this is the tile. It's either that or a monster in a box, but I think it's the tile. Yep. Okay, yeah.
Okay, we have Gersharks with Glare. Definitely not something you want to be dealing with.
This is a pretty decent advantage for Walls of Jericho potentially here. So Cheezinator is avoiding doing Marsh and Ice because one of them contains the canal, which is why Cheezinator is trying not to go into those dungeons. Walls decided to dive them anyways and finds the early eye. This could be a big deal. The bridge in that box. So there is still an incentive item in Marsh. The bridge does not count as an incentive item. It's loose somewhere in the Inner Sea. So, but big piece of information, Eye in Marsh. Okay.
And there we go. And we have Slab.
So the slab is also double good news for Walls. That means Walls knows that I don't need to do Ice Cave, and I found the eye, so everything is great. The slab cannot lead to the canal, which means that slab is going to lead to an item, and it's either the power bonk or a required item, because we've already found the dud ruby and we found the dud, well, not the dud, but the non-required tail. Oh, okay, Walls already did ice. Sorry, my apologies. So ice not required. Ice is the canal. That slab going to turn into something or the power gauntlet. Either case, a good deal.
Ooh. You have Metal Slime Spike Tile here in the armory for Volcano.
Good to get off the ground. Not great for the solo party without a mage staff. Not great for a solo black belt, but this is good to get that black belt to 21 at least.
And picks up a ribbon +3 after clearing the pack. That is a very nice find.
So watching carefully on Wall's screen here to see what he decides to do next. I apologize for missing that he cleared ice. I saw him going into ice. I didn't see him get the item out of it. Looks like bottle slab turn-in is likely. I think that makes logical sense here. Oh, okay, ordeals, that also checks out.
Alright, so we're 17 on Cheese's side. Going to exit, get some charges back. Probably good. I think your idea of taking this to early 20s is not a bad thing. Get those extra couple of hits for your black belt, and give yourself more firepower for handling later grinds.
Yeah, I think 21 exactly is the goal here. 21, of course, the black belt hit breakpoint to go up to 6 hits, which makes the black belt able to solo most single enemies fairly easily. And also, this black belt is incredibly well armored. We should keep in mind, the black belt normally gets absorb equals to its level when it's unarmored, but in this case, it has an opal +1, a ribbon, and a power, not a power bonk, a pro ring. So this black belt has like 40 absorb at level 20.
We may have, I think we may have had an accidental heal 3 cast there, because it didn't look like he needed to heal up, but he did.
Wall's getting through a pretty good ordeals. Finding this nice kind of tile too, deciding to run from it. This could be Fire 2 down, but Frost Giants have a decent chunk of HP, so it makes sense to run away as well. Walls' level's in okay shape because they took the eye a little bit, but very interested to see when Walls of Jericho decides to stop keeping 4 party members up and go down to a few less, so that way the black belt grind can get started.
Absolutely. So Cheese has a little bit of knowledge. You have the multi-pack here, and he's found our game's first, our seed's first ribbon. Walls has the knowledge of the eye. With what Cheese knows, do you think he's going to? I mean, he's eventually going to have to, or not have to. He's going to dive Marsh, probably when he's a little more prepared. He finds that. I think that gives him a little bit of edge because he'll already be on two party members and have knowledge of a couple of he has. It's not a key item, but it's a very important item.
Yeah, I think so. Cheezinator finding the loot in C is really helpful. I think Walls. I don't think Cheezinator is going to go to Marsh super quickly. I would probably be checking our deals before Marsh because once again, the whole Canal is 50-50 there. I think it's likely here, now that his black belt is level 21, that Cheezinator just goes and checks the lower floors in the volcano and goes and kills Carry. We're here anyways, easy to kill off a character, and we have the ability to kill Carry now that we're level 21, so I would anticipate that's the next play, but we'll have to see, because there are some more spike tiles, right, on the Agama floor for Cheezinator to check, but nope, we're just going to leave and go figure out what the next plan is.
I think it's a restock.
Mm-mm.
Oh, we got some really mean red goils over on Wall's side. We have 2 stuns, frequent hits, poison touch. This is just not, yeah, get that fade out. Hopefully you can thin that pack a little bit. Randomizer or not, I've never liked red goils. They don't give you much for rewards. They're always annoying, and with their multi-hit status and they have a touch on them, it's just easy way for them to bring you, to your knees in terms of status vulnerabilities. Ugh.
Gargoyles, I agree, very nasty. Cheezinator decided to do ice. I think this is for the unique spike tiles. Brought up the black mage so that we could have warp, as WallsofJerich0 picking up the crystal. So Cheezinator going ice, a little bit odd with the canal, but I think it's mostly for spike tile checks. This does increase the odds that Cheezinator finds the eye grind prior to, like, going to ordeals, for example. So that is good news for Cheezinator. Walls, though, getting some exploration done that Cheezinator hasn't, and that's the nice thing about these two runners right now, is that they're kind of doing different things. So it's going to be a while before they kind of converge and we can see what the true status is for both these runners.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, this encounter table, just like 4 encounters in a row what goes up must go down. When there's a long run somewhere, that means there's a very, very set of short runs somewhere else, and that is definitely this encounter table. Holy smokes.
Yeah, a lot less scary when it comes to dealing with when it comes to dealing with these kind of monsters when you're in your early 20s versus okay, this is I watched the way that he did the warp strat so he could gain access to that little inner pack of walking tiles that you would do when you were going for the vanilla floater to check his spike tile.
Walls picking up the adamant. We know the adamant leads to the Oxtail, which is of course required, and it's double required because it leads to the loot. So, but this is going to be a new slab, a new turn in here with the slab. So we'll have to see what it turns into. My guess is going to be the chime, but we shall see.
Let's see if we get vanilla chime. Or okay, blue D's on the drop down spike tile with fire 2, not. But it looks like Cheese does not want any part of those.
Ding, ding,
Good
ding.
call. Wow.
Yeah, it's because there's always an incentive item in Sky, and in this case it's going to be the cube. But there's Sky always provides, so Sky and Mirage incoming. Or sorry, Cube and Mirage incoming. Cheezinator though going to be full clearing ice and not going to be super happy about it because going to be picking up the canal in the 6-pack. May drive Cheezinator to Marsh though, and as we mentioned, Marsh is the location of the fabled eye grind, which Cheese will be in very good position to take advantage of.
He'll be able to walk in there and one-shot that eye. Now, Cube was actually Matoya.
Which means the Ordeals is required and Sky is not. So we are now in Commentator No mode. We have found all of our required items. The Power Gauntlet is going to be in Mirage or Sky. The Slab is required, which means Marsh is required. So we'll see what Cheezinator decides to do. The thing is, the good thing for Cheezinator is that Cheezinator can't. Okay, yeah, going straight to Marsh. This is the play that's going to pay off. The good thing for Cheezinator here was that he couldn't really get too screwed because there's no way to get into Sky without going, like, you don't get the chime and Sky's the place with the dud, so no matter what incentive location you go to, you're not going to like hit a dud all of a sudden. So Yeah, so Walls with a nice little exploration lead in terms of, you know, cube chime. Meanwhile, Cheezinator with a nice little advantage with that key loot combo.
Walls looks like he's going back for that grind.
Hmm. Now, one thing I don't love is the fact that unless I was mistaken, I think Walls still has 4 characters up, and the eye is not the best thing to kill characters off on. That's the problem. Like, that red mage has a lot of HP, so this grind could take a little bit of time to get up and running. Cheese not in that much better shape with 3 characters. Minami Madness, raiding with a party of 2. Thanks for joining us here on RPG Limit Break. We're about 40 minutes into the seed, so it's probably a good time anyways to say that welcome to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament 2021 Round of 64 matchup between Cheezinator and WallsofJerich0. My name is Chad. I'm joined here in the booth by John, and we are watching, some spicy Round of 64 action. We had a draft here. Started out with the red mage, went into white mage, black mage, and then Cheezinator finished it off with the black belt rainbow. Nothing too crazy here, but crazy is going to be when both these runners are punching eyes for the next 5 minutes. So if you joined us at the right time, well, you're going to get to see some black belts punch things for a while. John, as we prepare for this eye grind, maybe we can read a few facts about our runners?
Yeah. So we'll start on Cheezinator's side. So Cheezinator is he's been in multiple tournaments recently. He actually is the winner of SG Live from last fall, and is placed third in a couple of previous races. Let me make sure I get them called out correctly. He placed third place in Chaos Rush 2019 and third place in Spring Tournament 2020. And he has also now found the eye. For WallsofJerich0, we mentioned early on, he is a newer runner, and he participated in the Duckling Derby in 2021. Outside of that, he doesn't have any major wins under his belt, but looking to make some noise in the round of 64. So we have some experience and some veteran knowledge against a new upstart. As we all said early on, you can have anything happen. So let's see what does. But one thing I will call out is that at this stage in the game, you're going to see us converging here when it comes to the runners doing very much the same thing. Then it will be execution, menuing, pathing choices. They both have a little bit of knowledge that the other doesn't, but then they also, as they start to come together, then you'll start to see the runs and what they do. Seeing Cheese dipping into the locked rooms in Bottom Marsh, I actually like this because he's got to kill off his top member, and this big pack of Frost Wolves is going to help make that happen.
Cheese actually made 2 really nice veteran moves here. One was not just like stopping at the eye and doing the grind, it was finishing up finding the slab for the bonus 5% key EXP because he knew it was in one of 2 chests. And then the second one is finding another tile to kill off his characters. Remember how I mentioned before that like one thing I don't like about the eye, especially when the eye is not an ice or volcano, is killing off the other characters can be a pain. Well, Cheezinator is going to accomplish that on these Frost Wolves, and then going to be able to go onto the eye with just 2 characters up and maybe even just 1 character up, which is a much better position to be. As you can see here, like Walls is going to be spending quite some time for this eye to go kill off the party. The other advantage that Cheezinator has starting this grind off is that his black belt's already level 21. You notice here that this black belt's not even one-shotting the eye with temper just because it's too low level. Cheezinator's not going to have that problem. Now, this all being said, Walls has already finished Ordeals. That's a pretty good thing. The downside for Walls is that Walls may decide to clear Sky before he clears Sea. It would be a little bit unusual with not having gone to Waterfall first, but the fact that Cheezinator doesn't have to guess between Sea and Sky is a nice edge. That's not a galaxy brain play, or it's not like just better play. It's just the way that the cookie crumbled. That's just a better place to be. So yeah, Walls gonna take some time to kill this party off. I really do hope that Walls decides to go and maybe find this Frostwolf tile, get some help killing this party off.
Did
Yeah.
Walls pick up his? Does Walls have his key?
Walls does. Oh yeah, Walls does not have his key yet. So
It looks like Cheese is very close to having this party ready to go.
yeah, that's exactly the HP total that I would want to leave the Frostwolves and just go to the eye, and just be like, "Yo, eye, punch my white mage for 20 damage, please." Nope.
Hopefully, he doesn't sit there and miss.
Okay, I take it back. This eye is just tanky, but still, Cheezinator has this grind set up. It is time to sit. I did like Wall's fun fact. It was, I have no time to give a fun fact. I am currently doing my taxes. So thank you, Walls. Being a dutiful citizen, we appreciate your sacrifice of doing your taxes on time. So.
A little bit of fun fact for the Cheese side, his two favorite teams both involve green and gold, but they come from opposite parts of the country. He is a rabid Oakland A's fan, and he's also a big Green Bay Packers fan.
So the thing he has in common is both his teams are bad. I see. No.
Well, that is a very subjective statement, because we are talking. Well, Oakland A's, you can make that argument in various ways, but you are referring to the team that did have the coach that literally his name is on the championship trophy. I mean, you gotta give Lombardi the credit.
I was watching the Blue Jays game yesterday, and the A's kind of smoked us, so I'm just a little salty still.
Well, got some just for that salt tonight.
I will go back to focusing on the seed. As Walls is leaving the eye. I was expecting us to be eye grinding for a while, but Walls deciding, we're gonna go do the get the tail, go do waterfall, and see. This makes a lot of sense. Walls, with the knowledge that he had, knew that the on-rack content contains 3 key items, right? It contained it contained the shop item, the waterfall item, and the sea item. So this play makes a lot of sense. Now, what would be a really nice play here is to do this, get to Kraken, put some mages up front for Kraken to kill, and then hopefully kill Kraken, and then finish off by going to the eye grind to get that black belt grind done. So we'll have to see if Walls decides to make that type of play, or if we're just here for some key items. Either way, though, this is probably better than waiting for the eye to kill off my mages.
Classic. We have 32, so we have another threshold for that black belt.
Classic Gamer asking, is he wanting the EXP boost, or is he planning to promote? Well, with Life being level 7 and 8, and Fast being level 8, promotion is an option, but probably just wants EXP boost because he's there anyways and he has a ton of money. He was checking that not because he wanted the tail. He didn't know the tail was there. He was just checking because he knew there was a key item there. And when you're there anyways with money, you might as well pick up 5% key item experience, right? Even if you don't plan on promoting.
So Cheese saw that. Does he go back for it? Probably, because it looks like he's taking this grind to 42. Promoting your black belt after 42 is probably the best way, because you're getting the most magic MDef per level when the black belt is still a black belt. Promoting early on a black belt is bad because your masters get +1 while your black belt gets +3 MDef per level. And the MDef, if you go a significantly high level on your black belt, you essentially turn into a walking ribbon. The good thing about Cheese, he has that one other ribbon. So if he does a 2-party for most of the rest of the game, that's great because he has the walking ribbon and then the actual ribbon. And then in the end game, he gives it to the one that he wants to keep up, which likely will be his white mage. If he decides to promote, go back and get that tail and promote the white wizard, but we don't know if he's actually going to go do that. He may.
I guess it's worth mentioning that Cheezinator does have 2 items that Walls is likely not going to pick up in the defense sword and the ribbon, because those were both in kind of out of the way locations. But at the same time, Walls could maybe just pick it up, maybe pick up a good item like here in Waterfall, or pick up another good item on like Kraken side of C, which Cheezinator is almost certainly not going to open any boxes in. But honestly, a ribbon and defense are the two exact items you want the most, and Cheezinator found both of those, so that is a nice little pickup. Looks like Walls decided to take this fight on purpose. Just wanting to pick up a little bit more EXP, I would guess.
Well, if he's looking to kill any of these guys, he definitely got one of them. Those muggles are hitting like trucks.
Yeah, if this is just a play to get your party members killed off, this is gonna work pretty well. And yeah, that's what it looks like it is. At least to a certain extent.
As long as you don't kill the muggle before it whacks your party members.
Getting your party members killed off is a skill, especially as they get higher level. I mean, oftentimes the skill is actually not letting them get high level in the first place. But ooh, poison, very helpful.
Don't cure that person. One of my favorite monsters to find, especially when I'm out in the overworld, is Rankolos. Rankolos are terrible, horrible, nasty monsters that hit like semi-trucks no matter what seed you roll, what flag set you're on, and they're great ways to kill off your party members. And then nobody wants to kill them because they give you so little. They're one of the best ways you can get your party members. So any new people to the randomizers, or just some kernel of knowledge for the for people, you want to whack your party members. Rankles are always a great way to do. However, they do pose a risk to the rest of the party if the members that you do want to keep alive don't have great defense. As I mentioned, they hit really hard.
So fun fact, I didn't actually know how much EXP Iron Kilos were worth because I had never killed one for like the entire first like 6 months. Yeah, I was actually just going to point out this exact fact. Walls leaving C, which makes sense because the key could lead to the loot, which is go mode. And that gives you knowledge that you need to clear either C or Sky, which is really important information. So I don't disapprove of this play, it's just very unfortunate for Walls. So I would say that leaving C is a very logical play here, because you don't want a full clear C if you don't have to, right? But this is where, remember how I mentioned a while ago that the whole Cheezinator lucked out and opened one box in the chest, in the dungeon to get the loot? Well, Walls now has to do the 50-50. And it's not a fun 50-50.
He's just turned in his slab. So he's gonna go to Lefane. Eventually, he's gonna get his chime. Oh, looks like he's bringing up the entire party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's done. If I'm not mistaken, I think he got the black belt to 41.
42, I think I saw.
Did he go 42? Okay.
Yeah. Regardless, it's a functional 42 black belt for Topher.
Because I mean, yeah, if you go 41, you're going to get natural levels going there. You don't have to get your black belt to 42 on a grind this early, because you're going to take enough fights that eventually they'll make it there.
Yeah, so at this point, Cheezinator it's 42 anyways. Cheezinator very, very, very unlikely to be getting lifed or fast or promoting. I think this is just going to be all in on the 42 black belt, but defense sword makes that very, very doable. Notably, Cheezinator also purposely picked up temper and lock, which gives some additional tools. But yeah, Walls in a much better position now to do this black belt grind. So the difference between our runners, Cheezinator fluked out, knew where the loot was, just checked one chest, was going to go mermaids anyways, but checked the chest. I think it was all logical, just so happened that the loot was in C, which was awesome for Cheezinator. Walls has finished ordeals, which Cheezinator has yet to do, also did this slab turn in, also picked up the cube. So those are all some benefits that Walls had, but still needs to do their grind, and then really, really needs to go to C before Sky. That's a huge decision on Walls' part. Unfortunately for Walls, I think the odds-on play is to go Sky, but we just have to hope the power bonk for Walls' sake is in like Mirage 1 and just gets it and just gets to clear Sky with no other thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking here. Oh, we have Cheese gonna go to Mirage without
Mm.
Cube.
Ooh, okay. This is good for Walls. This play makes sense. Cube could be Mirage or Ordeals. Ordeals is probably a longer, Ordeals is a longer check than Mirage. Also could just pick up the key, the power bonk here, which would be a nice pickup anyways.
Mhm.
But this is just gonna be a time waste if he gets to, oh yeah, he could pick up the TNT on greater than less than. That would be non-ideal.
Not keeping any of that. Gonna duck out.
Yeah, it's TNT to bonk. Our tracker and restreamer tonight, Jay Shadell, pointing out correctly the TNT to bonk, which is just going to make Cheezinator waste even more time. So, good news for Walls.
Yeah, that eye still is not doing very much.
Now, eyes don't do anything. That's the problem.
Yeah.
This red mage is never going to die. But, okay. I think at this point it's going to be a lot more active. I don't think he was trying to... Yeah, he wasn't trying to kill off his red mage before. Okay, so Cheezinator knows it is not in Mirage. The cube is in Ordeals. This is good news for Cheezinator.
Or at least what leads to Cube is in Ordeals. And here we
Yes.
go. So we're gonna find our crystal, and then he's going to know that takes him to Matoya, and that gives him Cube. There's no other place for it to be. He is in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Cheezinator is now in no mode. He
That is
knows where things are, and
Zero,
functionally, he's essentially in go mode.
yeah. Zero Cool with a question. Can a key item be in a monster box? Items? No, so like the bridge, the ship, the canal, the cube, everything that we're lighting up on the tracker cannot be. But treasure that are incentivized, yes. So the white shirt or power bonk, and that is important information. Now, the key thing with Cheezinator's fill up the inventory strategy, though, is that it will say can't pick up the white shirt or something like that. So you still have that knowledge always, which is always good. Now, Cheezinator using that long run off the power cycle to reset instead of warping. Cheezinator has warp, and he is well aware of the warp trick, but resetting instead, so that way he gets to take full advantage of that long run again, calculating that's going to be faster. Walls, though, down goes the red mage. This was actually a pretty efficient grind setup. I like this from Walls. This is going to be basically the same efficiency of a grind as Cheezinator. So we're going to be in very similar situations between our two runners. Wall's going to finish up his grind, and Cheezinator going to have the crystal. At this point, it looks like Cheezinator is ahead by the length of the grind, 7-8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The length of the grind and potentially a dungeon full clear if Walls decides to go Sky first. But Cheezinator checking Mirage, that helped Walls quite a bit.
Yep. We found our item, we're gone.
Yeah, Jay Shadow pointing out correctly. Actually, I said the time I did with the assumption that Walls goes to 42. Could stop at 32, but I think it would be very risky on Walls' side. Now, we do have a lot of invis, and that can actually be a reason to stop, but Walls has no ribbons. That's the big difference between Walls and Cheezinator. Walls has no ribbons, no defense sword. Yeah, that's true. Jay Shadell's taking up a good point. There's a meta game in Final Fantasy Randomizer about, where your opponent is, how good they are, and what you're worried about. And if you think you need to take a risk to win, I think 32 black belt's a good risk to take here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is something that we've seen. I've seen mentioned on the boards. I've seen mentioned in a couple runs. There are some runners where you watched their games, you watched their runs, and you know their plays, you know their skill sets, and Walls knows that he's facing off against a runner that won a tournament. That is in the back of his mind. So the risk play, as Jay Shadell calls out, if you're going to pull out all the stops, you pull it out now because it's one and done. There are no best of threes in this round. It is best of one. So you take all the risks you can because that gets you to the round of 32. She's doing the smart thing. He is going. He's not passing go. He's not picking up $200. This is carry or bust. We're going to get our first Fiend Orb lit at around the 59-minute mark, maybe 58 if turn order is very nice.
Oh, this will be a 58-minute carry kill, I think. This black belt's gonna obliterate carry. Hello, carry. Oh, never mind. We're spending time buffing. Evidently, this black belt needs help. Maybe we need to start going for higher damage numbers.
I think he's just trying to disrespect carry right now.
That is disrespectful.
Oh. That's a whole lot of pain.
Okay. Walls has not stopped the grind. So the 42 grind tier is the... I hate to use the word correct, but the 42 grind tier with no ribbon, with no fast, is the safer, more sure play. But I think it is the race... Like, it is not the winning play for Walls here, just because Cheezinator has had an execution advantage on him, as well as just the, like, once again, loot being in sea instead of sky. So this will work, but this is, you know, remember that 7-ish minute advantage that I was talking about? That's what's gonna materialize here at least, with Walls going to 42.
Yeah. And you mentioned there's going to be a sliver of time saved by Walls on this grind because he has one more key item than Cheese did at the time. Cheese was getting about 5,900 a pop.
Mm-hmm.
Walls is getting 6,400. Not a lot of difference. It's going to get you a couple here and there, but at the end of the day, it's still functionally the same. So, yeah.
It's like one fight difference, or, yeah, it's like one fight difference, which it is what it is.
That always keeping us on our toes. Thank you, everybody. Yes, we do have one orb lit. That was a 58-minute kill for carry, so that was our first orb being lit. The thing about obviously a 42 black belt is that even if you light your first orb very late, you are lighting your second, third, and fourth pretty quickly after that, because there is just about nothing that's going to stand in your way of a 42 black belt until you get to Kraken, to Tia 2, and Chaos. The first level of fiends, they're all paper. I mean, they're little wafers and they blow away in the wind. I mean, it's just, there's nothing going there.
Yeah. Walls, as I said though, this was a relatively efficient grind setup once Walls set it up, but this is the third marsh dive right by Walls. This is the third time walking down to the eye, and that's just been a little bit of an unfortunate time loss. Everything else though, you know, relatively even, but here we go. Walls done. A loot away from go mode, gonna be about 2 orbs behind. This is a Topher wipe difference, and Cheezinator could, you know, anything that takes out this black belt is a Topher reset, right? There's no life on this party. We really have to keep that in mind.
He does that. He does have the knowledge in the back of his mind that if, you know, if he's probably keeping an eye on certain packs of monsters and sees if their scripts are bad, knowing what floors could be bad. If he spots something risky and calculates that, he knows where the tail is. He can go buy that, go promote really quickly, and then grab those items. He does know where they are. I'm not certain, did Walls stop and actually see the magic and know where it is?
Walls does not know where the magic is, but Walls knows where the magic isn't, so by process of elimination, he knows roughly where it is, if that makes sense. Okay, so Walls needs to go to C right now and check the right chest first, which is a play I hate doing when I'm going Kraken first. I've been seeing a bunch of the other ducks in his class do it though, so maybe he's been watching them instead of listening to me, and gonna go check that right side C first.
Alright, chip
Shadow
damage. Oops, sorry, no, I was gonna say chip damage from the Black Mage on the nuke gets TF1 down at 101.35 for Cheese.
Yeah, Shadowmail asking a question, does Wall even have a ribbon? No, Wall does not, and Wall's almost certainly not going to pick it up, but this is a winnable seed without a ribbon, for sure. No ribbon, no defense is a little bit unfortunate, but, you know, not the end of the world. What Wall needs is Cheezinator to have some bad luck, and this is a very winnable seed with a 42 black belt here. So Cheezinator onto Sea Shrine, Walls, party back up in full party mode with a 42 black belt, but needs to go to Sea Shrine over Sky. Volcano first.
Ooh.
Logical. Or wait.
Okay, Life 1 is White Mage learnable,
Ooh.
and I think Wall was too. Or was it one or both?
Yeah, okay. Walls going Sky. Once again, this is... I hesitate to call the correct play, but this is the odds-on play. This is the play I would personally make. It's not going to pay out for Walls, unfortunately. Walls needs to go... Walls needs this power, or this TNT to be like right side Sky 1 to give him the best possible chance here. So if you're cheering for Walls, come on right side Sky 1. Come on right side Sky 1. Don't be right side Sky 2. Don't be the last 4 chests before the maze floor.
She's running into a very heavy portion of the encounter table, making his way through with some relative ease, doing the smart thing. There's... Ooh, okay, we have poison. Stone poison, was that on the troll or the sea snake?
I think it was on the sea troll, but I might be wrong.
Oh, that's rough because that is knowledge that he has for the seafloor. That seafood party pack is party platter. You know, different names by different folks, but that is a pack that you don't want to see on the seafloor with Cheese's knowledge.
Yeah, I mean the thing with the sea trolls having it is it's not such a big deal because there's only at least 2 of them. You really don't want to see like lobsters or sea snakes with it, but still good knowledge as you said. But Cheese does have a ribbon which helps, and the 42 black belt of course.
So you're gonna always have at least 2 stay up. Now, one thing for
Probably.
every, you know, a lot of people know this, but some might not. Ribbon isn't a full 100% guaranteed clear. It is a 3 in 256 chance to still get through. It is unlucky, but it can happen. By the way, while I was yakking, Kraken 1 is gone. At 104.35.
While you were yakking, we punched into the Kraken? Yes, that is true.
That is very true.
Okay, so if you're a Walls fan, come on, right side Sky 1. Right now, show us that TNT, as Cheese has 3 orbs lit and is on the 4th. Yeah, I was going to mention before that basically from the time you hit go mode with a 42 black belt and no orbs lit, you have a set time basically to tow for entry, assuming pretty good execution, and that set time is usually around 10 minutes. So Cheezinator kind of right on pace for that, right? We dove Volcano at about the 56-minute mark, and we're going to be finishing up Earth here around the 57 or 107 mark. So everything kind of on pace for Cheezinator, what you would expect. It just goes to show how fast you can clear this game when you don't open boxes, don't take any fights. Wall's going to be in a similar situation though. Once gets the loot and gets whatever item is here in Sky.
Okay, good stealth first. He's gonna use warp strats for a little quicker back to the back to the steps. Definitely a move done by individuals with a little more knowledge of the game. You want to use that. I would have checked left and right sooner rather than the bottom, just because of density of checks. But here we go.
Right
Let's
side,
see
come on. TNT, 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 TNT. Hey!
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, no more boxes, Walls. Time to go, 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 go. Walls, if he checks the loot chest early and doesn't full clear Scott C, maybe a toe for white behind at this point, which is good. But Walls gotta go.
Ain't got no time for boxes. Gotta go fast. Gotta go hard. That's Mr. Fizzlebeef's way of saying it.
We GDQ now. Gotta save those frames, and that is what Walls is doing. We're not opening any boxes. Maybe he's about to prove me wrong and open the Sky 3 4-pack on the left, but this is a reasonable play, by the way, if he does. Okay, he doesn't, but he doesn't have a ribbon, so like some boxes may cross his mind, but yeah, I think you just gotta go at this point, and that is what Walls is doing.
We're about to say hi, Lich, and bye, Lich 1. 107.35, and Lich 1 is paper. He is dust in the wind. He is that old rug you take out back in the beginning of spring, and you clean it off.
Okay, 11 minutes from go mode to 4 orbs lit, and she's about to enter the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Walls, essentially 4, but 3-ish orbs behind, and hopefully picks up the loot right away in C, and then we'll just have a race. But here comes Cheezinator, 42 black belt in hand, with temper, with lock, no fast, has life, which was kind of surprising, but does have life. It was kind of in the magical Hail Mary slot. So okay, Walls has officially hit the gas pedal, which I like. That's what Walls needs to do.
All right, let's see what Tier 1... Tier 1's going to do nothing here. We're just... Or he... Yeah, if you didn't have a 42 black belt here, that sleep could have been a problem. Just, turn order, and you never know what Tiamat's going to whip out. But luckily, gets around that. I do like also calling something to Cheese's side, is leaving the Black Mage as stone. His entire walk through Topher is somebody he doesn't have to worry about keeping alive, because they're frozen essentially in time, and you can use that to then drop your other characters lower in the party and lower their chances of being hit, their back row, etc. And then you bring him, you soft when you need him, which is probably Kraken 2.
Kraken, yeah. It doesn't. So his back row characters will get hit more frequently, but his black belt will get hit more frequently as well. And overall, this is maximizing the number of hits that hit your highest absorbed character in the party, which is exactly what you want. So, yeah, I agree. Keeping the character stoned, a very good play. My favorite is when your life caster gets stoned, because then you can just res them after a particularly difficult fiend fight that you like defensed up on the black belt, for example. But black mage also a good alternative, so you have temper for sure. High Lich, Bye Lich. Walls about to light his second orb. Cheezinator, 1 fiend down, on to carry. Yeah.
Let's see what carry 2 has in store for us. So it looks like we are going to throw a little bit of... Oh. Well, good turn order there. 10 hits, 1293. Carry 2 is gone.
Carry 2 with who knows what's in store. Okay, so here's the first real test. Kraken could do bad things to this party. Would have to do multiple bad things. Black Belt would have to not one-punch it. Lots of things would have to go wrong. But Kraken, potentially an issue here. Walls onto carry, second orb lit, knows that the item is indeed in C, or well, probably turns into TNT and then knows the item is indeed in C. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled on Cheezinator's screen coming up soon. I think here Walls does Earth while he's in the area, but I'm going to be very unhappy to see this power bonk. And by the power bonk, we mean the power gauntlet. Yeah, so it casts Saber, which increases your attack but does not double your hits like fast. So not the best thing for the black belt, but still, better to have it than to not when you did all that work to get it. Ooh.
For lack of a better word, this platter pack, this seafood party platter has been a little bit trolly. The lobsters had Invis 2, so it's definitely not a something you want to be swinging at, because they could just get to a point where you're not touching them. And then obviously we saw the sea trolls with the stone poison. However, we have waters that want to make one more entrance before you get to Kraken 2.
Okay, nuke, swing, fade. Checks out. Speed and power strats all the ways. Decent nuke roll. Fade coming out. Fade doing fade things. Black belt doing black belt things. Goodbye Kraken. Cheese with the god turn order so far. Sacrifice sufficient numbers of hooray dwarves to the FFR deities. And on to Tia. So Tia would need to be doing some type of like nuke business or some nuke swing business. But if Cheezinator keeps getting turn order, it's not going to be a good time. Walls, unfortunately, doing once again the odds on. No, this is disaster. Oh wait.
He's going
Oh
back.
okay. No, yay! This is what we need. Okay, Walls is going to pick up the loot. I thought this was disaster. I thought he was checking left side, then mermaids, and I was gonna cry. Okay, Tia down.
Yep, Tier 2 was there, and then Tier 2 was not there. So we are going to be on chaos.
Diggery-doo.
All right. Let's see what it does. We got tempers. Oh. We got walls. Little wall for some extra security.
It's a good play. It makes sure that like elemental spells do less damage to the black belt, so I quite like it. Not that Chaos is going to have any turns to do anything here.
9
Chaos...
hits, 12, 27. And get your GGs out. We have ourselves a winner.
Cheezinator finishing in first with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 59 seconds. Congratulations to Cheezinator as he advances to the round of 32, where he will be facing off against...
If I'm not mistaken, Thundercloud?
Oh, right. This is the pool from the deep, dark, bad place.
Yes, the Gaia pool, which has like literally so many top runners. Now, I should not take anything away from the other regions. We have a field full of fantastic runners, but there are some big names here in Gaia region.
I accept that. We had Sir Linkalot round 1. We had Ale, Lord Fizzlebeef round 1. We had all sorts of messes. So yeah, these regions definitely stacked all over the place. Some scary stuff. And Cheezinator Thundercloud was the 3rd place matchup last spring tournament. And it's happening in the round of 32. That's how crazy this is.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they meet up again in SG Live Finals?
Yeah, that was
was the Bridge of Destiny difference, because Thunder met the airs that were unrunnable and were extremely evasive, and Cheese just managed to get through them.
Yep.
And we are now joined in the booth by Cheezinator. GG.
GG, everyone. Thank you for having me on here. This was a fun race. I actually got probably the most agreeable possible seed for these flags.
Yep. I mean, it wasn't the free-ish, like, it wasn't entirely free. There was definitely some death in the early game, you know, from some packs with some slightly nasty stuff, but like really early floater, early enough fade. Fast and life being high level were a little unfortunate, but you know, the eye waiting for you in Marsh, and you basically got pushed to go to Marsh anyways, so worked out well for you for sure. But well played. I think, you know, it went about as solidly as you could have hoped for.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my feeling on it was like, as soon as I got the floater, I tried to, you know, even as someone who's played the game a lot, you still get a little bit of that like decision paralysis, information overload. Like floater under 5 minutes, you've got to prioritize so many things so quickly to make sure you're routing efficiently for the next 10. And I did okay. I would say I've got like 85-90% of how I wanted to route it, but there was some back and forth and double dipping. But yeah, I tried to do all the priority checks I could, batch up a couple of key items. The problem initially was that because I got the floater so fast, I was like level 4 in the air. So I was like, well, I can't even realistically dive a dungeon and expect to get out the other side. I need fade charges and exit and warp and this and that. So I ended up grinding Ice Cave with my harm and fade, or harm and fire charges that were at level 1 and 2. And then from there things smoothed out.
I was
Oh, go
I
ahead.
was I was commenting that that was like a play that made sense. It was kind of reminiscent of like entrance floor shuffle, where sometimes you like do an entrance grind just to try and get some levels. But like, of course, the insanely long run to start, and then wizards, 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 wizards. Kind of didn't
Yeah.
wasn't the nicest, but you did get the levels you needed eventually.
Yeah, I just needed to get people to the point where they would survive like a lit 2 or an ice 2 opening coming out of a mob, that sort of thing. I looked through a lot of the spike tiles, as you saw, got turned away by a phantom and some gray sharks and whatever. Finally found a grind that would get me group levels with the metal slimes. Obviously was never going to be doing that solo, so I still needed to keep looking. That's why I prioritized like ice and marsh over, for example, ordeals, because proximity, and also ice had the 5 tiles, so even if it had canal, I didn't mind so much. And then I checked all, well, actually I didn't check all the tiles in marsh because I saw the eye first, and so the other tiles were just a kill my party sort of.
Yeah. I pointed out 2 good moves you made there. One was picking up the slab because you knew it was in one of 2 chests to get the bonus EXP, and then the other one was to not try and kill your party off on the eye. I thought those were both good plays. I was a little surprised you didn't do ordeals before ice. I understand that ice had more unique grinds, but ordeals was a higher probability to have a required
Yeah,
item. But
like
other
the 2
than that,
NRC ones were 50-50 for canal, but again, it was just like ice has 5 and I'm right here.
yeah, I don't think it was a, as I said, incorrect play or anything. That was just the only thing that I was a little bit that I was like, oh, I wonder if you'll do this or this, and you ultimately decided to do ice. I did want to ask a question about the early Cardia checks. I find those are a little bit unusual in the flag set, but I'm assuming you were wanting
I needed
gold.
money.
Yeah, okay.
That was all. And I got the katana and then kept forgetting I had it, so there were times where my black mage could have like reasonably chosen to just swing with it, and I was just like, katana +4 black mage, okay.
And then you set up a 2-man that I wasn't sure if that was your decision 2-man, that you were gonna like black mage black belt 2-man, which I thought was like, I was wondering if you were thinking about trying to get fast charges or something like that, and I was like, is he gonna do the katana strats? But nah, I think he went for the more standard kind of white mage black
Yeah.
belt 2-man, which I think made a ton of sense with Fade.
Yeah, when you're trying to get a black belt to 42, for starters, you obviate fast to begin with, but also you don't have the spare experience to get a black mage to 25, and also you got to do promotion and all that. It just didn't seem reasonable. If it was a fighter comp, it's totally different. You go for the fast every time there.
Yeah.
Fighter couldn't equip ribbon this seed, so Walls shied away from drafting one.
The play that you made was the one I expected you to make. I was just like, is this going to be the legendary katana wielding black mage? Is it finally going to occur? But alas, you made the logical yet less katana wielding black mage play.
No black samurais tonight.
There were some other bonuses or blessings and curses to play around. The black belt getting black mage vitality meant I needed more levels than usual, so I actually went to 42 on the grind rather than like 39 and waiting to pull it up, because I figured the extra 40 HP like kind of becomes relevant.
So I do want to point our attention back over to the seed. Walls has cleared out things and has entered the Temple of Fiends Revisited at the 1 hour 20-minute mark with this 42 black belt. There's the zombie D tile. Remember, we say there's kind of the big 4, well, big 3 solo grinds and the slimes. We found 3 of them. No Agamas cited this time. Maybe it was a C tile or something, or the other marsh locked. But yeah, Walls into the Temple of Fiends Revisited in decent shape. But you actually picked up 2 nice items, just kind of in your, I guess I'll call them money gathering checks that I thought was very unlikely for Walls to pick up, and that was the case. The ribbon in the Volcano Armory and the defense sword in the Dwarven Armory with a super late TNT. So, Walls in a slightly worse shape here, but 42 black belt does a whole heck of a lot, as you showed with immaculate big boy punches in turn order.
Yeah, I mean, Monster in a Box is what it is, but you still need, in the early goings of a seed after you get floater, and especially an early-ish key, you still need to get a couple of resources, like a couple of things to put on your characters. And yeah, I don't know, I felt like Dwarf Keylock kind of gets snubbed a lot. It was snubbed a lot in pods too, and I was getting decent stuff in there, so just like, that was probably the least necessary of all the checks that I did, but because it was later. Cardia got me all the money I needed.
Yeah. once again, I don't think it wasn't like a bad play. It's just like one that I didn't think Walls was going to make by default. You know, it's one thing when you're full clearing a required dungeon and then you pick up a ribbon, then you're like, oh, the opponent's definitely going to pick that up, right? But those two were like, oh, I don't know if Walls is going to, depending on the way he routes, will pick those up. And it was definitely nice for you to have both of those items. It definitely makes dives a lot safer, right? 42 black belts with defense sword. And in Wall's case, the power gauntlet can solo a lot. Power gauntlet not really making a difference, but defense sword being huge.
Yeah, like if that Lefane check, for example, had been Power Gauntlet, I was ready to reset it. Did not need it at all with 2 Temper Casters. Anyways, Walls is doing some Topher fights here, so.
Yeah, but, you know, the first 2 fiends with a 42 black belt
Yeah.
occur. Okay.
Get that black belt right away, and 10 hitting Lich and carry for both 10 for 1000k plus 1000k, not 1000k, just 1000, and
1 million damage.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me, but one thing that made me pause is the knowledge of what was in that seafood party platter, and the turn order was the thing that bogged you down in on the sea floor there. Cheese was, you just kept running into that full platter and those lobsters with Invis 2 slowing you down because they're just taking up all that time. You're not wanting any of that, but just making it difficult to get a rhythm and get through because you met that chunk of the encounter table where you had back to back to back to back.
Yeah. The encounter table is super weird to see. Like, love a long hard reset stretch for early game, like pre-floater navigation. Post-floater doesn't really matter at all. So what it ends up being is just like you get inconvenient batches of packs on like some of the worst possible floors.
Sorry, Walls is just really having a bad time here. Like, speaking of the encounter table, which is I'm sure what you were pointing out as well, Cheezinator. So Walls lost 2 characters to, one punch Lich, one punch carry, loses 2 characters to Waters, has only 2 life charges on the white mage, and this party is really struggling to run. So I'm gonna have to burn some fade charges as well. I think fade the correct play here, but these are some beefy seafood pack, and okay, we get away, and again.
Yeah, Walls is getting a lot of the same rolls I did. So of course it's the same formations, but also like getting the full screens of them. And the lobsters with Invis 2 is just such a waste of time. Like, that was the most frustrating thing. I didn't care that they could, like, can opener me and kill my mages. I cared that they were casting Invis 2.
I always think it's the funniest when they cast slow, because that's exactly what they're doing when they cast slow. They're just slowing you down. Okay, Walls also gonna get that water pack, like, right there. But I think you bring up 1 mage here for Kraken, I would guess.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're going with both. Okay, this is also reasonable. It's a little bit riskier because usually you want the extra temper cast for Tia and Chaos if Kraken does bad things to your party, but and also not healing that black mage. So this is a pure, like, 100% sacrificial black mage. Hoping for some turn order here.
Nice. Wow.
44 black mages are funny. Ooh, but this, wow, gets turn order again. Okay, come on, heal that black mage. Nope.
Wow, we are getting some godly order on these turns. Oof.
Okay, Fire 3 going to do the trick, but keeping up that red mage will be very helpful for this for this chaos.
7 hits, 524 from the punch.
Oof.
No ribbons. White mage survives the crack. Tia still up over vanilla HP. Punch coming out. Very low punch, but does the trick. Down to 2 characters. This white mage though has Cure 4, has Wall, has Fade, and the black belt doing sufficient damage. Pure offense strats probably will still work, but wouldn't be surprised to see like some Invis coming out just in case, right? Like Invis 2, and then if the black belt gets punched, a Cure 4 turn 2. But we'll see what Walls decides to do. Punch. Invis 2, yep. Punch comes out. Almost 500 damage. You can see the difference that no temper makes, right? Temper not really loved on the black belt, but I guess it's more that power bonk. Just most of the time, it's better off just casting, or sorry, punching, rather than casting temper or saber on itself. But temper onto the black belt very valuable. Invis 2, 2 stacks of evasion out of basically the 5 that this black belt needs. Cure 4 getting good turn order though. That was a potentially scary turn. You can see the difference the ribbon makes here, and the wall cast is this black belt's getting chunked a lot harder, and the white mage even more so. Black belt punches. This chaos is just over vanilla HP, so this next punch should do the trick. Down goes the white mage, as is tradition. Solo, black belt, chaos goes down, and Walls of Jericho finishes with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 45 seconds. GG's to Walls.
Right. Let's see if we can get him in here if he wishes to participate in a post-game interview. Definitely GG's to both runners. I would say, for anybody watching the race, some execution and some routing gaps, triple and double and triple dipping dungeons definitely can pull some time away from you. I believe that's probably one of the biggest differences. By the time that Walls finished it out his full grind, it was about a 7 to 8 minute difference there once he finished 42 on that black belt, but that was on his 3rd time down into Marsh, so it just kind of added on.
Yeah, and then just lost a little bit more time clearing sky instead of sea. Pretty nice pickup there when you just like dipped into sea, checked one chest, and they're like, you know what, I don't even need to think about going crack inside, I'm just going to take this loot and run.
So during pods, I picked up the meta play of like check that right side chest and then go full left, which is now I think 2 different tournament, not necessarily match seeds, but 2 different seeds on the whole tournament flags. I found the key item there, and then at the time I was like level 10 or something. Like I'm never doing crack in there, so I was just collecting stuff to go look for a grind.
Yeah, I figured you were just going to go mermaids and then hope you get the key item and then leave. But I guess if you were thinking right then left, that's also reasonable. Unfortunately, I can't type in the race room to ask Walls to join us for an interview because the race room's closed. But I will see if I will DM. Yep. Well, while I'm waiting, John, do you have any other questions for Cheezinator? I've been doing a lot of.
Oh, let's see here. So, talk to me about obviously the blurses, for the characters, kind of factored in. But tell me about talk a little bit about the draft. I mean, if there's anything big that came into play when you were picking your character, when you were setting that up. What were your thoughts when that kind of picking order came into play?
Yeah, Walls gave me first pick, and I feel like the safest first pick in the whole randomizer is Red Mage, kind of almost no matter what it rolls on its blessings and curses, just because you're getting the bulk of 2 colors of magic, and then just see how things play out from there. Walls gave us Rainbow Mages, and there were a lot of bad malices, right? Fighter had no ribbon, Black Belt had Black Mage Vitality, White Mage lost a lot of luck, which made running harder. Black Mage lost some HP. I think really only Thief was in decent shape, but
Thief is never in decent shape.
Yeah. But then after it was Rainbow Mages, it's like, well, no one's gonna pick, me included, no one's gonna pick the ribbonless fighter over Black Belt. Like maybe if the blessings work slightly differently, you get the curse on the Black Belt with the HP, but then the fighter has like, plus night spells or plus ninja spells or something blessing, then I'm thinking, well, fighter might actually be the faster thing to play with. So it's not like it was a slam dunk last pick black belt. There can be bad enough malices to make me at least consider, but yeah.
So you mentioned like the fastest, but sometimes the fastest, it's relative fastness, right? Which is the thing you're going for. It's like how much more relatively fast can I be on this party compared to my opponent, right? It's not what's the fastest way to finish the seed. But I guess in this situation, it was just like you wanted something that you weren't going to get like zapped in Topher with. Still just waiting to hear back. We'll give them another minute or so here, and then we'll kind of start wrapping things up. But John, any other questions for Cheezinator? I guess we can start talking about your very fortunate bracket placements. So
Yeah.
how about that round of 32 matchup?
I let's see here. Without doing any injustice to Walls, I did look at the overall bracket and like who I would potentially pair up with rounds in the future, just because if I have a future in the tournament, I have to think about that. And yeah, it's really unlucky placement. I think Thunder is the best player remaining, and among 3 to 5 that I think can or will take the tournament. And now suddenly I have to go through him in a best of 3 round of 32 instead of round of
You mean
16, 8, 4,
Best
whatever.
of 1 32, or is it best of 3 and 32?
No, it's
I
best
thought
of
it was.
3. It's best
Oh,
of
I thought
3.
it was best of 3 starting in 16s.
Best
Okay.
of 3 starts at 32.
Okay.
Which is really fortunate, because I mean, I would not bet myself to take one match, but maybe in 3 I can come up with something. Yeah, he's a super good runner. I'll have to actually play this game instead of Final Fantasy VI next week. And just I've got a new controller coming in the mail. The couple that I just bought were total duds. They were like knockoffs of knockoffs with terrible D-pads. I've got a new actual good controller coming in a day or two, so I'll have a lot of fewer menu slips, like you might have seen this race.
I did see you try to use that loot a couple times when you were trying to use the tent. So
Yeah,
uh,
this is a like 3 controllers old controller. My previous 2 have fritzed out in some way, so I had to go digging into the box for the one from before them, which has like a clicky D-pad.
Yeah, so Asher confirming in chat that round of
oh.
32 is best of 1, which is what I was pretty sure
Wait, you're
of.
joking?
No, I'm not joking. It's gonna be a
Oh man,
bloodbath.
back when we were designing the tournament rules, I had been pretty sure that due to like number of races, best of 3 was cut from 64, but it would be kept for round of 32. But wow,
No,
that's
I'm
unlucky.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Well, yeah, I don't envy either of you, to be honest. If I get out of the round of 64 as well, there's tough matchups all around. Especially as you said, I've been playing too much Magic and not enough Final Fantasy Randomizer. Although recently I've been very much focusing on that for the next couple weeks. So some tough matches all around. I think with that, we will head into final thoughts, as I have not heard back from Walls. So yeah, I mean, Cheezinator, we've been chatting for a while. Is there anything else that you kind of wanted to say heading into the round of 32 after the seed, and maybe to your opponent Walls?
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get to chat with Walls and have just a conversation about the draft and thoughts on the seed and things. So maybe we'll catch up a bit later. But GG's to him, whatever he's doing the rest of the way. I don't know if he's planning to participate in the Duckling Derby and the boot camp and all that leading up to it. But good luck to him on that. If so, of course, I'll be around to help in the Duck channel if need be. But yeah, as for me, wow, this just got a lot scarier. I thought I was at least going into best of 3 with Thunder. It's best of 1. I mean, I don't know. He's in top form, and I'm slipping a lot. So I don't know. I guess it'll be up to chance a little bit next week, but yeah, I'll be enjoying a lot of FF6 regardless of whether or not I continue in this tournament, because that rando is heckin' awesome. So anyways, thank you all to the crew, comms, and so forth for tonight. Thanks everyone for tuning in to RPG Limit Break. It's always nice to get a broadcast. And yeah, I gotta practice this game a little bit maybe.
Oh yeah, no, Thunder, not a person to be trifled with. The pro strats is to send Papa John's to his door at 1 hour into the seed. That's the way you beat Thunder. Just distract him with the pizza. John, any final thoughts on the seed?
Not much other than GG Cheese. Definitely well executed. Looking at, I did some scouting. Looked at Thunder's run. If the both of you play this, your incoming race, the way you play this, it's going to be a very good, very close match. Obviously, that new controller is going to make a big difference. So good luck. Hope the delivery service delivers for you, and you have that in your hands. Definitely looking forward to this, though. When the brackets came out, I circled this as a potential. I will be watching, so we wishing you luck. to Walls, this was a good race. No shame in the time you turned in. You made to the round of 64. So hey, making it into brackets in the spring tournament is a great accomplishment. So definitely want to give GGs to both runners. And then big thank you to everybody in chat. Good lively discussion. Great tracker and restreamer on Jay Shadell pulling double duty. Chat, thank you very much for joining me in the booth. I am John. I want to also ask you to please give our runners a follow on Twitch. If you're feeling cheeky, check your commentator and your race crew out, but that's not necessary. But definitely stay tuned. There are some fantastic races. We got some big mixes coming up. Let's see here. Tomorrow, a couple of races. We have Zenobia Rod Raven, and then we have Groggy Dog versus Rojo, Rock Solid versus Papa Ducks, Knuck versus Shumbabi, Deadpulse versus Czar. I will be commenting that. That is one I circled. Space Drake and Joshua, fantastic runners, all going to be great races. This spring tournament is lit. Join us. Check out the randomizer. Check out our Discord. Join up. Cheezinator mentioned the boot camp and the Duckling Derby coming up for the summer derby. I will be part of it. I've been hooked. So, to everybody, have a fantastic night. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon.